Okay. You were
Okay.
expecting someone to join you?
I wanted one of my teachers to join, but he can't get free. I'm waiting for actually Renee Ming. She might join me after a meeting. She had some information, so
Okay, so you want
it
to wait a bit or should we get
it
started?
depends on, maybe you can start with what you're gonna ask or how it's gonna run. Maybe I can provide
Yeah,
some.
well, you can add a lot of what I'm probably going to say you already know, but I'll go through the process for completeness
Okay.
and consistency. Sorry about that. Um, so, well, you know who I am, and I am actually the lead of the history and legacy component of the rescoring process assessment meetings.
Mm-hmm.
Along with me here today is Carla Ingerman. Carla is part of our assessment team, as well as is part of the team, Kim Dismont Robinson. She's not here today, and David Northcott. Kim is the Director of Community and Cultural Affairs, and David Northcott is a policy analyst in the Ministry of Labor. He will join our team as compliance. So at the end of it, he'll go through the process and make sure we were compliant. I also have with me here today is Tanisha Otley. She works for the ministry in our policy team, and she has been involved in the history and legacy working group and committee from the inception. So for consistency and continuity, we have her join these meetings.
Okay.
So I know that you're aware in July 2023, the minister announced in a public meeting that we would include a history and legacy component to the rubric that was already created for the parish primary decision. So the process to where we are today, you're probably aware of, but I may be telling you something you don't know, but I'm sure you're aware of most of it. So basically through the consultation with the schools indicated that there were no person from the school representing at the school legacy location strategy meetings. That's where the government teams got together and they did the work and they made a recommendation to the minister on the school buildings. The minister then committed that we would have school representation, participation in the history and legacy component process. So the idea today is for your team to share any information about history and legacy that we can include and rate. So basically the rating is 1 to 5, and we have 4 categories with a maximum of 20 points. So that rate, those categories, sorry, would have been in the email that you received that we would be looking for.
Okay.
So some schools had indicated they would do a presentation, which is fine. Other than that, we will entertain any type of information you want to share, and we may ask questions.
Okay,
So,
so Renee, she just let me know she's on her way up.
okay,
So
great.
she will join and share what she has. We also have an account of the history of our school from all the different locations. Is that something that I can scan to your
Yes.
team?
Yes. So at the end
Great.
of this Principal Fogo, you
Mhm.
can send whatever you have and you want us to consider within 3 days of this meeting. So you can just share the information and we will consider it as well.
Okay, so this talks about where, you know, the all the different locations within St. George's. And someone did get back to me this morning, someone who taught here for many years. Yeah. Oh, I think Miss Means here now. Hi. So I'm just gonna let her join us. So Miss Ming is joining us now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, MP Ming. Good to see you.
So what we're doing is just sharing. I just started to share anything about Easton that the history and the recipes. So I have this document which talks about the different stages of where they were in St. George's. So I'm going to forward that. That's something from Miss Otterbury she shared this morning. But maybe you could share whatever you want. Sure. Or you want to start? So okay, thank you for indulging me.
Yeah. Principal Fogo, did you want me to just give a quick overview to MP Ming of what I said earlier so that she has understanding, or you're good to go with carry on?
That's fine.
You're good? Okay, great.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay, so in addition to what I'm going to send you, I did speak to a teacher that taught here for many, many years. And the one thing that she said over and over was the pride of the St. George's community. She went back to say that many, many, many years ago, pretty much she said the Black children came to East End Primary. They could not go to the other school in here. And that they just had so much pride in being a St. Georgian and being a part of this school. And so many great people came out of East End Primary. She named a few here: Dame Jennifer Smith, Ianthe Pearman, Rose Douglas, and a lot of them attended East End and they came back to teach at East End, and they just did a lot of things together as a school community. And the number one thing she just spoke of was pride in being from St. George's. Yes. Okay.
Just to add to what Ms. Figueroa said, I myself am a proud East End alumni, and I come from 5 generations, 4 of which of us all attended East End Primary. So my grandmother, my mother, myself, my youngest daughter. And I think the pride aspect of it is one that you can definitely have much discussion on, because as St. Georgians, we're naturally proud to be St. Georgians, right? Because we recognize there are 9 parishes, but there is none as great and as wonderful as St. George's. And to think to be attended the primary school that's in St. George's as well. And there are many great persons who have come out of East End, but there are things that over the years East End have been known for. And just like any other entity, the school evolves into things. But I know during my time, James Foley was the music teacher here. And he took the productions, the choir, to a whole different level. It was almost like you were at Broadway when you would come to East End Primary for a school play. And the pride that he instilled in the students in terms of not just the musical aspect, but the drama side of it, and also encouraging us to use our voices. And you might think that he always meant it in a way of music. He didn't. He taught us in terms of being able to not be afraid to speak out and to use our voices. East End, when I think back even in terms of looking at the field, has always been a school who's always had the school field open. There was never a time when you could not come here after hours and not play on the field. And part of the reason for that, and I think is because when you go back into the heritage of East End, there may have been situations where you didn't necessarily have a wonderful yard to play in, but you knew you could always come here after school, play on the field. We weren't destructive or anything, but we would continue to play maybe until our parents came home. And you had janitors at the time who were always watching out for the students, because not only did you know that student, you knew their parents and you knew what family they represented. So part of that pride of East End is the fact that it still remains even today very much the community school, and we all know each other. And I look now and I see some students and I say, I know your mama. I know your mama, because I don't even say mother, right? I know your mama.
Yeah.
And it's probably because that grandmother may now be my age and someone that attended East End Primary with me. So very proud, and we're very prideful and probably very protective of the school as well.
That's good. So, I mean, I don't know if there's anything else you want to share with us. It's just an open forum for you to just discuss whatever you want us to consider. I'm sure we're going to get information from what you're going to send, Principal Fogo, about the school. Anything else you want to share with us?
I did, since Ms. Victor asked me this, I did take some time to speak to my grandmother, and I asked her about her time at East End, and she was just explaining to me, because at the time, I think she attended on the York Street, because it wasn't on this present spot, because at that time, she said that the school was rebuilt it top of what was the Tom Dome,
Right.
which we have evidence of from time to time. Yeah, so she would have done the community center. She spoke about the teachers that she had at the time. She said they were very young, and in some cases, they may not have been off to university, because she's now over 80 years old. I mean, they're on the other side of 80, and that they were sometimes pupils who had graduated from East End, going on to high school, and then they came back to teach the students, the newer students that had come in. So again, you can definitely see that cycle of community with East End, because there's students returning, and again, families knowing families, able to recognize and to understand as well. But even though we talk about East End NLA, and she said this herself, that during her time, she didn't have many students that were white that would have attended. So her classes were 100 Black students. And I gave her the difference of my time. By the time I came, we were a little bit more diverse. And whilst Black students may have been the majority at East End, I do recall that I had like 3 white students in my class at East End. And so she was saying to me, well, by that time, we would have gone through 1971 when our schools became desegregated. And so after that, there were benefits of cultural diversities and just being diverse in itself. But her time, she didn't have that. And she expressed to me that it was 100% Black in terms of the student and also her teachers. And she also, what she remembered was that everybody in our family was put on Purple House, and they were very purple pride. They were happy to be on purple. But because our family was large, we could not maintain putting everybody on Purple House. So by the time I joined, I came to East End, I was actually placed on Gold House, which was a huge ruckus in my family. But to have all of us being on Purple House at that time, we would have had a serious imbalance in the numbers in the school. So my mom agreed that she had been on Gold House because the school started to see what was happening already. And so some of us have been placed on Gold House. So we talked about that, and she was like, and I don't know how they did that. I don't know how that was allowed, because you all should have been on House. I said to her, if I had to choose the call, I think I would have chosen Gold House anyhow. But, she went on she explained to me about why, Purple House always seemed to have won in her time. I definitely can't argue or even begin to question her on that. But she spoke about how the children would come to school. She said she would walk to school. She said that there were no buses to carry us all over the place. We walked to school and we walked back home. I used to catch the bus to school, and I said, I remember the bus used to be 25 cents. I just had to have the 1 quarter, and I could get on the bus. And I was saying, look at what we pay now. Well, money is free, but what a student bus ticket would
If they
cost.
had to. Mm.
Yes. And we talked about even that experience, and why she brought that up was because she was saying obviously, the communities were safe and you didn't feel any way about your children walking to and from school by themselves. We did, dilly-dallying along the way. So there's a lot of good memories. I also had opportunity to speak to my mom about her time at East End, because she would have been in the 60s. And she spoke about, she said she was very much a bookworm and she got lots of awards and stuff. She said, well, my brothers didn't get anything, but I got all of the awards. And she later went on to go to Barclays. She said, this is when you had to pay to go to Barclays. So she believed that her strong foundation at East End is what allowed her to get into the Barclays. Let me say that correctly. The Barclays. So, my family, I can speak for, has great memories of East End. We still have students here today that are transitioning through the school, and we make sure that we stay connected, as many of the St. George's families do. When you come here, just even here last week for Sports Day, we saw the Fogo family, and not Principal Fogo's side of it. The families, you see the Trot families, you see the Tyrrell families, you see my family, which was at that, was an Anderson family. And so that's just showing you such a long line of students and their families that remain connected with the school.
Yes. I was looking there somewhere in this document, it has a list of all the names, and you just named almost all of the family names. But in addition to that, I don't know if you know, my mom taught, and she taught here for her entire 30+ years.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, she taught here and then she retired, and then she came back as a sub and had to work under me as the principal.
So that would be great.
Yeah, it was great. It was cool. So I did not attend East End Primary. I attended St. George's Prep for maybe 2 days, and then I spent my primary days over at St. David's Primary. So all the teachers over here all were my aunties. So I grew up being the East End Primary, child. So
right.
I forgot to mention that. Yeah. So my mom has quite a bit of memories of East End Primary. So it was sweet when I became the principal of East End.
Nice.
He was extremely proud.
Her mom was my P1 teacher.
Okay, that's legacy in its own. Yeah, that's good to hear. Can you said a little bit about getting awards, MP Ming. Principal Fogo, can you speak to any awards or recognition internationally, national, community, that the school may have got? I know that the children all participate in events and all sorts of things from time to time.
I recall one particular thing that I know I'll never forget, when Gina Swankson won the Miss World, and she was from St. George's.
Yes.
East End, Mr. Furley was the teacher, the music teacher at the time, and he came up with a song for her, and we sang it when she arrived in St. George's after winning, and it went all over the place. Obviously, we don't have social media like we do today, but it was on the news, in the newspaper. He had it recorded, and that was just one time where we had East End pride as well, because Ms. Swankson had attended East End herself. So we were as students, present students at that time, singing to someone who won such a prestigious title.
Yes.
And we little small children were singing to the top of our lungs about how great and wonderful she was.
One of our P6 students did a project on Ms. Swankson, and she spoke about that. How she lived out back of Wellington, but came to East End Primary, and they had a big parade for her. Didn't know about the song.
Well, I can certainly hear the pride in both your voices, especially you, MP Ming.
I actually can't think of any off the top of my head, but if I do, I will add to the document.
Okay, great.
That I sent to you. Okay.
Paula, did you have any questions or comments?
Hello. Sorry, no, I don't, but thank you for your presentation. I'm learning a lot about your school. My mother went there. I can't hear you now.
What was your mom's name? Who was your mom?
She was Judy Curtis.
Judy Curtis. Okay.
Judy Curtis, Dorothy Crane.
Judy, but she had like her brothers, Calvin, Maxwell, Curtis, all of them,
Yes.
all from Wellington.
Yes, I know Maxine, Makisha, and Maxwell.
Yeah, that's all my cousins. Yeah.
There's a legacy happening on this
Yeah,
school.
for sure.
Oddly, did any of your people attend
No,
East End? No?
my family went St. George's Prep. My mom and my
Okay.
auntie and my cousins from St. George's Prep.
Okay, interesting. All right.
Well, I'm a
But you-
Somerset girl and very really came over the bridge. So- But I
to me,
certainly hear it.
I'll be paired with the East End children.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
I had some cousins up there as well.
Yeah, nice. Well, if there's nothing else, I mean, we're happy to stay and collect anything. We will get that from you, Principal Fogo, and feel free to add anything that you think of afterwards that you could have added.
Okay.
You can email it directly to me and we will submit it as part of the package. And just to go over again for the sake of MP Ming, we will be rating the information that we get and we submit it to the minister. The minister may want to discuss it with his colleagues. I believe he will, but he makes the final decision and then we move from there.
Hmm.
And so we're hoping that that would take place next week. During next week, as our final interview is Thursday. And then we have the holiday, so it would be in next week.
What a long process this has been.
It has been.
Long process.
But
Okay, well, I'm glad that
we certainly appreciate your patience because it has been a while and it's been taking a while to get to this point. Yeah.
right. Well, I'm glad we were able to have the conversation finally.
Yes, thank you. And thank you, MP Ming, for joining. You know, it's always nice to get the rich history from persons who participated. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I enjoyed the walk on memory lane.
Yes.
And I actually got an idea because one of the piece of the documents that I'm going to send you, the school used to go on a heritage walk of all the different sites of East End primary, all 9. And I think I'm going to try and do that. I'm going to organize possibly for Heritage Month. We'll take the children on a walk to see where East End started and all the different stops. So I'm glad I pulled out this information.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Yeah, it would be good. And then they'll remember and that goes
Right.
down. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. If there's nothing else, we don't want to take any more of your time. But, you know, certainly send the information and it will be contributed.
Okay, will do. Thank you very
All
much.
right, thanks.
you, ladies.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.
Thank you.